Welcome to the second lesson in magnetic fields in matter. So, here today we will discuss about the torque acting on a magnetic dipole placed in a magnetic field and the contribution of this torque towards the paramagnetic behavior of a material. So for that, we consider a rectangular loop carrying a current I. The loop is inclined at an angle theta with respect to the xy plane. Here xy plane is taken as the horizontal plane and the z-axis is placed perpendicular to it in the vertical direction. The loop is carrying a current I. The dimensions of the loops are A and B. Now the loop will have a magnetic dipole moment with M is equal to current into area of the loop, that is M is equal to I into AB. The direction of the magnetic dipole moment is shown perpendicular to the plane of the loop along this direction, that is M, and this magnetic dipole moment will be making an angle theta with the direction of z-axis if the plane of the loop is making an angle theta with the xy plane. And there is a uniform magnetic field applied along the positive z direction. Now we have to calculate the force and torque acting on this rectangular loop. Here we can see that the force acting on these two sides, that is these two slanted sides having length A, the forces on these two sides are equal and opposite as per the Fleming's left hand rule. That is forefinger field, middle finger motion, it is in this direction, field is along the z direction, middle finger motion, then thumb represents the force is in this direction, and on the other side the force is in the opposite direction. So these two forces are equal and opposites and they are acting on the same line of action. So they may stretch the loop, they are trying to stretch the loop, but they have no other effect. That is, because of these two forces, the net force acting on the loop is 0 and also the net torque is also 0 if we consider these two sides. Now there remains other two sides on the upper side and one on the lower side. So this upper and lower sides has a length B. Each is placed in a magnetic field B. So each loop will have a magnetic force F is equal to I into length into magnetic field. Here the length of the loop and magnetic field are perpendicular to each other because field is along the z direction and this B will be perpendicular to the y direction. We can see B will be, it is three-dimensional view. So this length B and this length B, both of them are perpendicular to the magnetic field. And they will experience a force. On the upper side, the force acting as per the Fleming's left hand rule, forefinger field is in the z direction, middle finger motion, that is the current is in this direction, so the force will be directed along this direction. The force is represented in this figure. Similarly, on the lower side, an equal force will be acting but in the opposite direction. Now these two forces, they are also equal and opposite, but they are acting on different lines of action. So these two forces constitute a torque on the loop. And again, the net force acting on the loop will be 0 because these two forces are equal and opposite. So in a uniform magnetic field, the loop experiences a torque, but the net force acting on the loop will be 0. The force on each upper and lower segment will be F is equal to current into length into field, that is I into B into B. Now the torque on the loop is torque is equal to force into perpendicular distance. Here force is F and perpendicular distance is this one. If this length is, this is A, that is the other dimension of the loop, And if this angle is theta, this angle is also equal to theta. So we can constitute a triangle here. From that triangle, sine theta is equal to opposite side by hypotenuse. So opposite side is equal to hypotenuse, that is A into sine theta. So perpendicular distance is A sine theta. So in the vector form, the torque, which is represented by the letter N, will be equal to A sine theta F into x cap. That is, the torque will be acting along the x direction. X direction is from the plane of the body. That is, x direction is from the plane of the body, means the loop will be trying the torque will be trying to rotate the loop in the anti-clockwise direction, so that by using the right hand rule, if the fingers of our right hand is turned in the direction of rotation, then the thumb gives the direction of torque. So the torque will be along the x direction, that is from the plane of the body. It is represented by x cap. Now F is equal to I into B into B. So if that is substituted here, we get a term I into A into B, where I is the current, AB is the area of the loop. So current in the area is the magnetic dipole moment of the loop. So that expression can be written as N is equal to M cross B, where M is the magnetic dipole moment, which will be directed perpendicular to the plane of the loop, and B is the magnetic field. They are making an angle of theta between them. So M cross B, when expanded, becomes M into B into sine theta into x cap. So this is the torque acting on a dipole placed in an external magnetic field. So in the case of a uniform magnetic field, we see that the total force acting on the dipole is 0, but the total torque acting on the dipole is M cross B. So this is valid for any localized current distribution in the case of a uniform magnetic field. Now in a non-uniform magnetic field, this expression for torque is correct only for a perfect dipole of infinitesimal size. That is, this expression is valid for all loops in uniform magnetic field. But in the case of non-uniform magnetic field, this expression is valid only for perfect dipole of infinitesimal size, means it is called an ideal dipole. That is, the dipole should be infinitesimally small in a non-uniform magnetic field if we have to apply this expression for the torque acting on the dipole. Now this torque, it tries to align the dipole parallel to the field. We can see that the rotation of the loop will be in such a direction so that this M tries to go parallel to the magnetic field B. So we can say that the applied magnetic field produces, or it shifts, the magnetic dipole moment parallel to the magnetic field. So this is responsible for the paramagnetism of a material. We can see in any material there will be atoms, and inside the atoms there are electrons, and each electron has a spin dipole moment because electron will be spinning about its own axis. So these spin dipole moments are, when we apply an external magnetic field, these spin dipole moments will interact the magnetic field. But in quantum mechanics, due to the Pauli's exclusion principle, the filling up of electrons in different orbitals are controlled by some rules, and one of the rule, Pauli's exclusion principle, forces the electron to be paired, and the electrons are paired inside the completed shells, that is in the interior of the atom, that is in the inner shells of the atoms, where the shells are completed, the electrons will be in paired forms. So when we take one pair of the electron, one electron will be in the spin up direction and the second electron will be in the spin down direction. So the net spin dipole moment of that pair will be 0. As the net spin dipole moment of the pair is 0, if we apply an external magnetic field, the torque has no effect on the paired electrons. So the paired electrons cannot be influenced by applying a magnetic field. So in that case, paramagnetism cannot be observed, because the alignment of dipoles is not taking place. So paramagnetism generally occurs in atoms which contains at least one unpaired electron. That is an important point. Paramagnetism occurs in atoms or molecules or materials having at least one unpaired electron. If all the electrons are paired, then that material will not be paramagnetic, then it will be diamagnetic. So paramagnetism can be seen only if unpaired electrons are there, where the unpaired electron is subjected to the magnetic torque. So in a paramagnetic material, each atom or molecule has a permanent dipole moment because of the single unpaired electron. But as a bulk material, if we consider a finite volume of the material, it will contain a large number of dipoles, and these dipoles are randomly oriented because of the thermal motion. Therefore, the total dipole moment of the material will be zero in the absence of magnetic field. Now, in the presence of a magnetic field, the magnetic field tries to align the dipole parallel to the field because of the torque M cross B. And this alignment will be more and more if we apply more strong magnetic field. We can say that the material becomes magnetized and it acquires a non-zero magnetic dipole moment for the total volume. That is, as a whole, the net dipole moment of the material is now it is not equal to zero. It has a net dipole moment, and that net dipole moment will be increasing with the increase in strength of the applied magnetic field. So the material will be linear. Linear means the dipole moment inside the material, the total dipole moment inside the material is directly proportional to the applied magnetic field. So this is paramagnetism. Now, suppose the magnetic field is removed. If the external magnetic field is removed, then the individual magnetic dipoles again becomes randomly oriented because of the temperature. So due to the thermal energy, they again becomes randomly oriented, and the net dipole moment of the whole material will be again zero. So the paramagnetic material has no ability to retain the magnetism acquired in a magnetic field. It has a non-zero magnetic dipole moment as a whole only in the presence of a magnetic field. If the magnetic field is removed, it again becomes unmagnetized. But still, the individual atoms or molecules will have a non-zero dipole moment, but they are randomly oriented. So in a uniform magnetic field, the net force on any current loop will be equal to zero, because F is equal to I into dl cross B. If we take the closed loop, because the loop is closed, we can take a closed line integral dl cross B. Out of that, B can be taken out because it is uniform. Then now there remains closed line integral dl. Closed line integral dl of a closed loop for any shape will be equal to zero. So we can safely say that in a uniform magnetic field, the force acting on a closed loop of any arbitrary shape will be equal to zero. But in a non-uniform magnetic field, the force acting on the dipole is F is equal to del of M dot B. And remember, these results are similar to those in electrostatics. So we can say in a uniform magnetic field, a magnetic dipole has a torque M cross B and the force is equal to zero. In a non-uniform magnetic field, a small magnetic dipole has a torque M cross B and a force del of M dot B. Now at last, we can compare the dipole moment models. In early periods, the physicists were thinking about the magnetic dipole as consisting of two poles, south pole and north pole. So this picture of magnetic dipole containing two isolated monopoles is called the Gilbert model. And you know that Gilbert model is not correct because isolated magnetic monopoles cannot exist. And this model is similar to the electrostatics. That is, in electrostatics, electric dipole is containing negative and positive charges separated. That is electric monopoles. But it is correct because electric monopoles can exist. But this Gilbert model is not correct picture of the magnetic dipole, because north and south poles cannot exist. If we divide a bar magnet into two pieces, we will get two different bar magnets. We are not getting a north and south pole in isolated form. We will never get a north or south pole in isolated form. And physically correct model of the magnetic dipole moment is called the Ampere model. In Ampere model, every magnetic dipole is treated as a current loop. So this is the current loop. In any magnetism is coming from some currents inside the material, whether that magnetism is permanent, whether it is temporary, whether it is natural or man-made. All types of magnetism is coming from some current loops. It may be present because of the spin or orbital magnetic moment, or spin or orbital motion of the electrons inside the atom. So after watching this video, you should be able to answer the following questions. The equation for the torque and force acting on a dipole in a uniform and non-uniform magnetic field. Then the part of dipole moment responsible for the paramagnetism. Then some properties of the paramagnetic material. Then different models of the magnetic dipole moment. So thank you for watching this video. Next video will be uploaded on Monday.